Even their special ability to sleep off snake bites and wake up unharmed remains a mystery. Up to a quarter of their diet is made up of venomous snakes. Nor do we know why the young stay with their mothers for so long, nearly twice as long as true badgers. But it's tales of the honey badger's sheer audacity that have become the stuff of legend.
There's all these myths about them. How many of those are true?
Following a tip-off, Lowe and his field assistant Becky are heading to a safari lodge, where these normally elusive animals are reported to be turning up every night. Tucked away on the outskirts of Kruger National Park, the lodge could be the perfect place for Lowe to set up a new research project. Honey badgers are scavengers as well as hunters. At the Safari Lodge, they've learned there's a regular supply of leftovers at the rubbish dump. According to maintenance manager Alfred, the dump has become a magnet not just for badgers, but for other animals too.
Yeah. Yesterday I saw honey badger and hyena. Oh, with hyena?
Yeah.
Have you seen them fight, yeah?
Yeah.
What happens when they fight?
Hyenas come. She wants the food.
Honey badger.
She goes straight through. Because she like that thing. Yes, quick. She drive quick.
Hyenas go. So they go underneath the legs and they bite them from behind.
Yeah. Hyena, no. That honey badger fair.
It might not be pretty, but the rubbish dump offers Lowe the perfect opportunity to see where honey badgers rank in the pecking order.
So this is where you dump all the rubbish then?
Yes, all of it. I put it here.
Can a badger, as Alfred claims, actually face off an animal 5 times its own weight?
From which direction do they normally come?
She come to that side.
From that side?
And you see that road, yeah.
This little trail here?
Yeah.
So what time do they normally come in?
5:30.
Okay. Thank you very much, Alfred.
Okay,
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Lowe will be back at dusk to see for himself if the honey badger really is top dog. Though badgers are tolerated at the lodge, they can be a persistent problem for local farmers.
I'm trying to make a living out of free-range pigs. Around me is a big farm, but my problem is not the big farms. The real problem is the honey badger. That's the big problem.
As well as raiding his pig food, badgers have attacked and even killed his dogs.
A week ago, I catch 2 on one night. They do a lot of damage.
Some farmers just shoot the badgers. This one's lucky to be getting a second chance. The farmer has called in Brian Jones, a wildlife conservationist with a soft spot for honey badgers.
It's wonderful that you're prepared to side animals like this. They're after the foot of my pigs. Okay, open up. Give it to me.
Brian looks after all kinds of unwanted animals, and yet, despite its rough reputation, the honey badger is his favorite. He's rescued around 50 so far.
Okay, Brian, thank you very much. Bye, donkey. Go on.
The badger will be set free later, as far away from the farmer as possible.
They do get hurt in their traps. If we see it's quite serious, we will treat them accordingly. And when that's healed, we let them go again. Hopefully they don't go back to that man, because that man might now decide to start killing them.
Brian is heading back to base, to the place that's been his home for the last 22 years. Set in its own 1,200-acre game reserve, Mahalo Hollow is a privately run animal rehabilitation center. As well as providing a temporary refuge for injured wildlife, it also houses a few longer-term residents, including a honey badger called Stoffel and his girlfriend, Hammy.
I've had in my house hippo, rhino, brown hyena, spotted hyena, leopards, cheetah, lion. I've had the whole lot. But the honey badger is nothing near the honey badger. The first honey badger I took in was Stoffel. He caused chaos in the house. He damaged everything. I mean, he'd come and break through the window, go into the kitchen, knock the dog biscuits over, go to the fridge, lie on his back, kick the fridge open. Go and smell what's on the menu today. Get the frozen bacon, sit on his back and eat it. And you don't dare stop him. You just let him do what he wants to.
Stop. Stop. Come on, let's go. Hello, my neighbors.
Stoffel came here 20 years ago as someone else's unwanted pet, not fit for release into the wild. Though happy at first to look after him, Brian soon discovered that the badger was a menace to his other animals.
Doesn't matter how big or small he attacked it. Nothing was safe for him. He grabbed the rhino from underneath and wouldn't let go. And the rhino... He grabbed one of my tawny eagles. He killed the servals. He wiped out 30, 40 guinea pigs, one shot. He was extremely destructive. When he flies into you, it's not a joke. He really rips you to pieces.
Stoffel was becoming the pet from hell.
Stoffel, come on, my way. Stoffel, come on. Stoffel, hey.
Alas for Brian, this was just the start of a long and challenging relationship. Honey badgers, as their name suggests, are fond of honey. But the mayhem they cause trying to get it makes them a scourge to beekeepers.
I've spoken to some of the beekeepers in this area who've lost up to 60 hives in one night. If you consider that a beehive costs about 1,000 rand and takes about 2 or 3 years to develop into a production colony, you can see what the loss is. It's huge.
On the other hand, it takes guts to face an angry swarm. Badgers that get it wrong have been stung to death. It's the protein-rich grubs they're after, as much as the honey.
I've seen some hives where the badgers actually got in from the side and chewed through this 22 millimeter wood. 22 mil is about that thick. Solid pine, it's ripped apart. Decimation. Badger won't stop at anything.
Sadly, badgers that raid too often risk being poisoned. Guy Stubbs wants to protect honey badgers from the wrath of his fellow beekeepers by developing a cheap but effective badger-proof hive. He's come to the rehab center, where he's eager to try out his approach on some real badgers. Phase 1 is all about watching and learning.
Jan, please release the badgers.
Enter test badger Stoffel and his apprentice, Hammy. Badgers are adept at scaling trees, but Guy thinks they'll struggle to reach the hive if there's no bark to grip onto.
Okay, you can see he's actually just using one claw at a time, and he's hooking his claw into any little crevice and hole that he can find, and then he pulls his whole body up, so it's showing incredible strength. Can you hear that panting? It sounds like it's a lot of effort for him.
Through sheer determination, Stoffel eventually gets within range.
Look at the way that he's grabbing onto that plastic. and is actually ripping pieces of it off.
The sweet taste of success. With all his footholds figured out, Stoffel is soon back up to finish the job. A few painful stings is a small price to pay. One honey badger was found alive with well over 300 stings.
So by just having it off the ground in a tree isn't a guarantee for protecting your hive.
Armed with valuable first-hand observations, Guy is now ready to go and design his badger-saving, badger-proof hive. At the game lodge near Kruger National Park, zoologist Lo de Vries has a ringside seat at the rubbish dump. He's hoping to see for himself if the honey badger lives up to its ferocious billing. There's no mistaking a honey badger. It wears a bold black and white coat and moves with a confident trot.
Just there over the beds.
Like a skunk, its vibrant markings send a warning. Mess with me at your peril.
It was right at 5:30, bang on time. And coming from where he said they were.
The two badgers certainly don't appear to be put off by Lo's presence. Pairs of badgers were once thought to be couples. But in fact, badger pups stick with their mothers for up to 2 years. And it can be hard to tell one from the other.
There's a very good chance that this is a mother with a pup. If the pup isn't male, it's actually possible that the big individual is the pup. They stay with the mother for such a long time that they actually outgrow the mother.
A long childhood suggests the pup has a lot to learn before it can survive on its own. This one is busy mastering the art of bin raiding. The greedy badgers won't have the place to themselves for long, and they seem to know it. Porcupines are the next to show up. Along with the jackals, they hang around to wait for the badgers' discarded scraps. If push comes to shove, it becomes clear who's boss. Even the civet, a larger carnivore, moves on. For Lo, this is a rare opportunity to watch wild honey badgers. The action at the bins might compare to what happens at a carcass.
I'm noticing the incredible number of sounds these guys are making. Chattering, growling at each other. Growling at the other animals. Chirping away, kind of like a concert call. Sometimes they almost sound like jackals. I'm not bothered by my prison. I've been obsessed with these animals for so many years.
Honey badgers normally forage alone, but news of the dump appears to have spread. With fresh arrivals, there are soon more badgers than bins. And now, they must contend with each other.
Silly badgers.
Over at the lodge, another gang of gate crashers is piling in. Remote cameras reveal them making a beeline for the kitchen. The masters of mayhem have arrived. Back at the bins, things have taken a serious turn. With jaws nearly twice as strong as a lion's, a spotted hyena could crush a badger with a single bite.
The badger seems to have no idea that the hyena is coming up towards it. Backing off. Seems to know better than to mess with honey badgers.
The cause of the hyena's hasty retreat soon becomes suffocatingly apparent.
That's horrible.
One of the badgers, it seems, has deployed a concealed weapon.
That's bad. They actually use this in the same way as a skunk. That's why it brings them to other animals.
Fluid ejected from the badger's anal pouch can be smelled from 40 yards away.
Oh, it's truly awful. It's actually makes your eyes water. I have no idea how they live themselves.
At the rehab center, Brian Jones was soon learning from his pet badger Stoffel that the animal's reputation for bravery was no myth.
One day, staff called me, Brian, quickly, Stoffel's got in with the big lions. He dug underneath the electric fence and went into the lions to fight them on purpose. So my staff took meat and just chucked it over to get the lions' attraction on the meat. Meantime, the honey badger wouldn't let them settle down and was going to their private parts at the back. And he was chasing this big male lion around the cap. It was hilarious. Yeah, he was after this big lion. And eventually the lion would turn around and grab him, but once the skin's loose, he'd swing on his skin, the honey badger, and bite the lion in the face. So in the end, the lion's bleeding down the face, the honey badger walking big stuff, and he won the first round. And they were scared of him.
In one incident in the wild, honey badgers are said to have chased 7 lions from their kill. For Stoffel, though, fighting alone, round 2 was a disaster.
He did it again, but this time he didn't get off so well. They pulverized him a bit. He was in the hospital 2.5 months.
Though Stoffel survived, honey badgers are not invincible. Because of their sometimes foolhardy bravado, they are occasionally mauled to death by big cats. After his close encounter with badgers at the dump, Lowe is keen to get deeper into their world. The whole question of why pups hang around with their mothers for so long is intriguing him. Local tracker Enoch says he spotted a mother and baby using an old termite mound as a den, less than a mile from camp. It could be the breakthrough that Lowe needs. Despite their small size, honey badgers travel huge distances in search of food. With their incredible stamina, they're easily capable of moving 20 miles a night, which makes them hard to pin down. But if there's one badger that's likely to stay put, it's a nursing mother near a regular source of food.
So is this the hole where you saw the honey badger with the pup?
Yeah, this is the one. They were milling around on top of this termite mound. You can see this tracks here. It shows that they're still using it.
Lowe decides to put the burrow under surveillance. With a bit of luck, the mother and pup will give him a unique window into the normally hidden world of badger parenting. After Stoffel's severe mauling by the lions, Brian knew he had to get his badger under control. His solution was a brand new pen and the introduction of Hammy to help him work off steam. Far from settling down, though, the canoodling couple soon proved that honey badgers are not just fearless, they're astonishingly clever.
We started off with a mesh-type fence, but it didn't work. Stoffel soon devised a plan for opening up the gate, which has got 2 bolts. He would get the female to go up. She would go up, open the first gate. He'd hold the gate and say, "Woman, get up. I'm pulling open, you open up." She goes up to the top, she pulls the second one out. And then he pulls it open. He waits for her to get down and they escape together.
The escape was no fluke. Considering their small size, honey badgers have remarkably big brains.
The intelligence is just beyond anything.
Whatever Brian did to keep him in, Stoffel was hell-bent on getting out. In the end, and at great expense, Brian had no choice but to build his own Badger Alcatraz.
I said, "Stoffel, the days of your escape are over, buddy." That night, they called me, "Brian Stoffel's out." I said, "It's impossible." But we had trees in here. And he climbed up the trees and then leaned over onto the wall and he was out. So we cut all the branches out of the trees in here and left the trees in the middle. Next afternoon, here's Stoffel back in the office to come and greet me. I said, "How did he get out?" We came here and the tree's left in the middle. He spent the whole night bending the branch, twisting until it broke. He puts it on his back. Then he carries it to the wall, leans it against the wall with his back feet and climbed out, and that's how he got out. And eventually they take all the trees out. Then he dug up the rocks and he'd roll them with his back feet to the wall until he piled them up high enough. And then he'd get out. So he took all the rocks away. This is like a game for Stoffel. Every time I devised some plan, it was like a game for him to work out how can he get over this. 1 o'clock in the morning, my wife wakes up, Brian, someone's in the house. She said, "I heard a window break." So we freeze. Oh my, expecting burglars. And here's Stoffel at my bedroom door trying to get to the bedroom door. He made himself a mud ball, and he flipped it to make it bigger, and he rolled it, and he stands on it, and he just got out like that. People have said, oh, did you train? I said, train it? Not at all. Didn't even think of it. He outwitted us each time with his schemes. Stoffel! Well, I remember one day a keeper left the rake in Stoffel's enclosure. He scratched himself lying on his side out, he's thinking. Computer's working then. Take the rake, put it in his back, put it against the wall. Climb out and off he'd go. Stoffel! I mean, you won't believe these stories. You think it's a hoax? It's not a hoax. That is Stoffel.
On the outskirts of Kruger National Park, Lowe has the badger's den under surveillance. The photos from the first night, however, reveal an unexpected visitor.
Leopard on a camera trap at 20 to 6. 20 to 6, it's 10 minutes after I placed the trap out.
It's not a good sign. Leopards are one of the very few animals known to kill honey badgers.
Unfortunately, there are no honey badgers on these shots, which is kind of strange. I saw the tracks there with my own eyes. Enoch said those tracks were relatively fresh. Either this was never a den and the honey badger just kind of came through, or the mother felt threatened by the presence of the leopard there and decided to move the pup.
Perhaps the average wild honey badger is smart enough to know its limits. The mother's vanishing act leaves Lowe back at square one. The difficulty in finding and tracking badgers in the wild is a major problem for anyone who wants to study them. Having lost a promising lead, Lowe decides to try an experiment.
There is this one intriguing story that a bird called the honey guide takes honey badgers to bee nests. The honey badger goes and breaks open the nest, and honey guides can then feed on the honey.
It's known that honey guides will lead humans to bees' nests, but it's never been shown for honey badgers.
I think it might be true. If they've been shown to lead in humans, why not honey badgers? There's no reason why it shouldn't be true.
Using a recording of the greater honey guide, Lowe is hoping to lure a badger out of its burrow. But after several hours and many miles, the jury is still out. Not a single badger has come out of its hole. Over at the rehab center, beekeeper Guy Stubbs is finally ready to pit his wits against Stoffel and Hammy with what he hopes is a badger-proof hive stand.
The important thing is to make sure that you leave nothing lying around that Stoffel can use as a tool to tie onto the stand.
With room for up to 10 hives, Guy's raised metal cage is quick to assemble. If it works, it'll help keep the peace between beekeepers and badgers.
Okay, I think everything's ready now. Jan, won't you release the badgers, please? I feel that we've got a good chance. I don't think they can get up here. There's Stoffel trying. Look at that. Looks a bit like a sloth. He's feeling for a little hole or a grip like he did with the tree. But he's not finding one. They're too slippery. This is how we stop them getting in.
Hammy has been watching from the sidelines. And with Stoffel flagging, she moves in.
Can you see? Can you see her toes? She seems to be getting a grip. This is terrible. No. No, man. And there she's got it. She's got onto the hive. Can you believe it? Oh. She's actually pushed her way through and got to the honey that way. That's her technique now. She's pushing the hives all over the place. Now she's blocked my view. Yeah, well, this is unfortunately not even Stoffel. It's even more embarrassing.
It's round 1 to Hammy. And back to the drawing board for Guy.
I've tried everything. I've got a lot of respect for honey badgers.
Out in the bush, another day is drawing to a close. And the night shift is beginning to stir. For 3 weeks, Lowe and his field assistant Becky have been searching for badgers beyond the camp, without success. But they're about to get lucky.
There's something on the car.
Where is he?
I think he went to the vehicle.
They've staked out a spot with fresh signs of badger activity, and it's paid off. 2 badgers, a mother and a large male pup, have returned to dig up more food. Most likely they're after beetle grubs or scorpions.
I've got an incredible sense of smell. You can smell stuff so deep underground. None of those claws that can dig up anything. Look at this one's nose, it's covered in dirt.
The 2 badgers are soon joined by a third. It's a huge male, and he's not interested in dinner.
Look how much bigger this one is.
He seems to sense that the female is ready to mate again, after nearly 2 years of single parenting. When a mother starts to entertain suitors, it's the cue for her pup to move on and strike out on its own. This is potentially a big night for him. For Lowe and Becky, it's a rare and unexpected chance to observe courtship, honey badger style. Taking the hint, perhaps, the younger male moves off to feed elsewhere, leaving the lovers to themselves. But the newly independent badger could hardly have picked a worse night to go solo. He's dangerously isolated, and his mother is too wrapped up to notice that the old enemy is back. This time, the hyenas have turned up in force, and the young male is out in the open. Whatever food the badgers have sniffed out, the hyenas now want to claim for themselves. Retreat would seem to be the sensible option here. Incredibly, though, the young male stands his ground, as if daring the hyena to attack. Meanwhile, the big male has at last cottoned on, and immediately squares up for a fight. Mother seems happy to let the boys sort it out.
See if I'm backing off.
The four hyenas are determined to muscle in, but the outnumbered badgers are equally determined to force them back.
Look at that.
The honey badgers aren't bluffing. They're quite possibly the bravest act in the African bush. Some would say they're also the smartest. Having been outwitted by Stoffel countless times, Brian isn't taking any more chances. Reluctantly, he's had to add an electric fence to the badger's pen. It's for everyone's benefit. Including Brian's.
I've tried to make peace with him, but he just wants to kill me. Whenever he hears my voice, he styles up, ready for attack. Hello, Stoffel. Hello, my baby. Yes, my buddy. Oh, Stoffel. Stoffel, don't you forgive me? Yeah, Stoffel. You're worse than a woman. You just don't forget.
Aside from looking after Stoffel, the business of saving wild badgers is keeping Brian as busy as ever. 3 more animals trapped by farmers have now been patched up and are ready for release. Brian can only hope that the badgers don't go and create havoc for someone else.